Hey, everybody. Welcome to What's Up, or as I usually say, What's Up. My name is Darren. I'm your host, and we're here with Dustin Posey and a special guest, Dusty.
Hey, y'all, welcome back to What's Up, powering smarter homes and stronger businesses. We're continuing our Solar 101 series, and today we're going to add a critical perspective, the view from the sales side, done the right way, of course.
That's right. So we have with us today's guest, Derek Acosta. Derek is the solar sales director for Tiger Solar. If you're interested on visiting his website, it's www.tigersolar.com. In just 1 second, Derek will introduce himself and kind of give you an overview of his experience and where he's at now. He brings a lot of perspective to the Solar 101 conversation, working directly with homeowners and also with sales teams of various sizes. He's got a lot of experience in educating customers on all the different nuances of solar, and applying good business ethics to the solar sale.
That's right, because we all know the experience a homeowner has with solar often comes down to the person sitting at your kitchen table, right? And certainly not all solar experiences are created equal. So we're super excited to have today's guest, Mr. Derek Acosta. Derek's going to help break down what homeowners should expect from a professional, and even how to spot red flags before signing a contract. So without further ado, Mr. Derek Acosta. Derek, tell us a little bit about yourself.
How are y'all doing today? And thank y'all for having me.
Good man.
Again, yes, my name is Derek Acosta. I'm the sales director at Tiger Solar in Charlottesville, Virginia. We're going to talk a little bit more about that background here shortly. But I come from a solar background of the last 10 years. Started at a company called SunPro Solar in Mandeville, Louisiana. Helped grow that company a little bit with some new territories with my colleague here, Dustin Posey. And we were successful, and we did some great things, and we helped some reps change their lives, and we helped many homeowners switch over to the solar world. So then I went to a company called New Orleans Solar Alternatives, where I got to really get into the nitty gritty of a lot of changes and challenges, and learned more about the director and managing side of solar and how to grow a team effectively and the right way and sell solar properly. And now I'm here at Tiger, and we're rocking and rolling.
Love it, man. Now, so y'all, Derek was actually my path into solar. He kept bugging me for months, telling me to join the game. So I finally listened and did it. But Derek, how'd you get into solar? What was your path to the solar world?
Man, it's a unique story. So I was a general manager at a high-end Italian restaurant, and it really was a tough position, a tough job, a tough life. And it takes special people to run restaurants. And it was just really tough for me. But I met a girl by the name of Amber Dufresne, and she was one of my waitresses. And she only worked there part-time while working at a company called SunPro to help out a friend that was in need. She was a great person. Just one day she came up to me, and I was trying to pitch our redfish on this guy, and it was a pretty easy sell, and I did that a lot for her and helped her rise her ticket prices so she can get a better tip. And she asked me to take a look at this new solar position in sales. I did have a sales background before that. I never was in the restaurant business, but it was an eye-opening challenge right away. At first I had no idea what was going on. I could barely spell the word solar, so I was in trouble, and slowly picked the right brains of the right people, and learned more than you can imagine in a very fast-paced environment. And yeah, I found a niche for it. And when I found a niche for it, I just began to grow my knowledge, grow my team, and learn how to be a proper leader.
Shout out to Amber. Amber served with all three of us actually at
Right.
SunPro. She's a great teammate and an awesome friend. So shout out to Amber. Now, Dee, tell us a little bit about your role at Tiger as a sales director. What does that entail now? Because I know we've all sort of climbed different ladders in our prospective positions, but what's your day-to-day like now as a director?
It's, as we know, with the big beautiful bill passing, it's been busy, it's been hectic, it's been a ride. But here at Tiger, we have a really big passion for white glove experience, and of course, every company thrives for that. But it's really the people in the seats that are doing the hard work every day that make that white glove experience work. And here I'm overseeing most of that, and I'm growing sales teams in Central Virginia, Northern Virginia, and Grand Rapids. So we have a presence. It's not ideal, and we're growing as much as we can, as fast as we can. But with the new pivots, we're making sure we're taking care of the homeowner first.
Yeah.
So it's really comes down to product. What are we putting on their roofs? Is it tier one? And I'm sure we'll get into some of that in the future. But um, that that is what I would say is overall key. So
Yeah, cool. And now, what we heard a little bit about your markets there. Are those the three main markets where y'all are at with Tiger?
that is, we do large commercial, small commercial, and residential. Commercial is taking a big jump as we speak, of course. And residential, we ended very strong last year.
Awesome. What's your team structure like now?
So team structured, I have one sales manager, responsible for about 5 sales reps total. So not the biggest team, right? We keep it small, but they work extremely hard and they're extremely efficient and educated. So they actually make it a little easier on myself, of course, when you have team members of that stature. So the structure isn't complicated, but it also, when you're going down the chain of command, it means everything with the process. And when you have smaller teams that are capable of doing a lot of work, and they use that chain of command, it also drives that white glove experience.
Yeah, I agree, brother. I mean, I know for us, it got really hard at the end there to manage 30, 40 reps between two of us. And then it got almost exponentially harder to manage all 1,000 of some pros reps. So that small team's got to feel good when you have that much control and you know everybody's doing a good job.
That's right.
Yeah.
Easier to track, right? Easier to make sure things are going the right way, and to follow up with your customers if there's any hiccups or anything that rubs them the wrong way.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
keep talking about this white glove experience. Huh?
Sure.
Can you kind of give us your personal definition of what that
Sure.
white glove or what a good solar experience is?
Sure. And if anyone wants to see some really honest reviews and stuff that's out there right now, please go check out all of our pages. Understand that reviews from customers mean everything, and especially in today's world.
Well, and especially in this industry, right? I mean, our referral base is our bread and butter.
That's right. And without that, companies will not survive in this next year.
Yeah.
So it is extremely important. But what I mean by white glove experience, and I'm sure we'll also dive into that. But what I mean by that, Darren, is giving the customer what you promised them in the home. Okay. Not giving them false hopes, not stretching numbers, stretching realistic facts, and that is key to the white glove experience. Telling people there's a tax credit and that it's going to be a full refund, right? Even though those days are over, which is great, but
You mean I don't get a check from the government when I buy solar?
that's right. And a lot of companies don't teach proper sales.
Right.
And I don't mean that to throw any company under the bus. I just mean that we have what they call fly by night companies that come in, do some sloppy work, and then head out, and it makes it harder for all of us. And
Yeah.
what I mean by white glove experience as well is, can you go back to that homeowner and get the referral because of how well you did, how
Right.
well you communicated, the products that's on the roof, and they're going to produce, and you're going to be there to service it 5 years later, and you're not going to run around. And that's why picking the right company is a factor as well.
It's so huge. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? Because we know it's so easy to have a rep go into a home and say the wrong thing the right way, right? And get a sale. But we all know later on down the line that leads to huge cancellation rates. You've got huge turnover. It just brings about all the wrong things that we don't like in the solar industry. So, speaking to your white glove experience, brother, how does your team explain solar to your homeowners?
Um, it's different for every homeowner, as we know. Every single appointment is different. That's what I love about solar. Every single person's going to have a different electric bill, a different situation, a swimming pool, 3 kids, 1,200 square feet, 3,000 square feet, 4 AC units, 2 AC units, many different factors. Okay. But our job is to go out there with the proper programs, okay, the proper information, and deliver that homeowner with an actual rate of return on their finances, and showing them what the actual cost of solar is without hidden fees, okay, without all these financing companies that can take advantage of them, by just trying to buy their rate down or something of that sort. They refer to them as dealer fees, and they are something that we don't believe in here at Tiger Solar, and at other companies that I worked at. They don't deliver a white glove experience at the end of the day. Okay, so now if you can't have a good financing option for your homeowner, how are you going to give them what they need? How are you going to make this worth their while? How are you going to help them save money? And we all know interest rates are rising and changing daily. Okay, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. But how do we make this affordable for the homeowner? Buying power. How big is your company? How much can you purchase at a time? Okay, are you following fiat compliant? Are you getting domestic content? All these new terms, right? That confuses homeowners. They don't need to understand that, right? That's something that's really going in the weeds for them. Of course, they can do their own research, okay, but that's not something we want to confuse them with in the home. We want to offer the right product at the right time in an honest way. And I'm just between me and you don't lose deals that way.
Right.
At the end of the day, yeah, you might lose some, and then the homeowner realizes, man, I might have picked the wrong company, but they'll also refer who? Tiger Solar.
Right.
So
Well, it's really important too, right? To your earlier point, because so many people, it seems, in our industry nowadays want a cookie cutter experience, right? They want out of the box. Here's a solar system. Here's what it will do for you. Here's the price. Let's get you moving, right? And it's just the industry's not going that way anymore, right? The white glove is the way to go. Everything's got to be tailored to your individual homeowner. It's got to be.
And I'll piggyback off that a bit. Sorry, Darren, I saw you jumping up a bit there. But another thing, Dusty, it's a good point you brought up, because the homeowner is who drives your business at the end of the day.
They're the buyer.
People buy from people. Okay. At the end of the day, they're not buying from the name on the shirt. They're buying from the person that they can trust and they thought did right by them and gave them their best chance at getting the rate of return on their money. Right. So I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sales 101, right? Like, people buy from people buy from who they trust or who build a rapport. That just kind of is standard. And I think for a ticket item that is as high as solar, I think people are easily overwhelmed. And if there's a person who has less than good intentions, when I say a salesperson has less than good intentions, it's easy to kind of get a customer sidetracked and or buying something they don't need. So I appreciate the fact that you stated that every home is different. And I also appreciate the fact that there are a lot of variables to solar. And we talked about this in our Solar 101 episode, from, buying it outright to leasing it to, all these different things, interest rates, dealer fees, that really can confuse the sale. And so, your homeowners really do have to trust the sales rep in that situation. So based on that knowledge that there's so many things out there, what would you say would be the biggest misconception that homeowners have in like the first appointment?
Solar is free, Darren.
Solar is free.
It's our favorite one.
Nothing.
Good old Facebook leads.
Nothing free in this world. But I can show you how to reallocate the money that you're already spending and put that towards your solar, and use the same money you're already bringing out of pocket. And guess what? It's still like that in some states. Darren, you mentioned high ticket pricing. Who says it has to be high ticket pricing, right? Yes, other solar companies that you see today at the $4, the $5, the $6 a watt. Okay, that's because of overhead. Too big, went too fast, too many things happen, right? So with us, we don't have that problem, and most of the companies I was at didn't have that issue. So your buying power, everything comes into play, if that makes sense. You just have that edge, and that edge will help you close more deals and get that trust of the homeowner.
So if the biggest misconception is solar is free, then is that what you spend most of your time, is showing the customer the value of solar? Is that kind of the
Yeah, and I think Dusty remembers this. One of my favorite things to do is to hold up the electric bill. I'm still using that to this day. It's been 10 years. It still works. How long have you paid this? And has it ever decreased? Has it ever gone down? No. What about all these new data centers, guys? What about all these new data centers? Your rate on your utility is going to go sky high. Where I'm at, they just sent out January 1st, 8.7% rise. And they're going to do it again. And then wait till they're actually built.
All right.
All right. So solar is not going anywhere. Solar is here to stay. And the high ticket pricing and is not what it is anymore. You're going to have to come down. You're going to have to quit with the commission breath, and you're going to have to sell an actual job like an honest construction worker. And if that makes sense to you guys. So solar is never free, but I can show you how to reallocate that same money to buy your solar. So
I still remember the first time you showed me the electric bill playing it. I mean, it's shocking, right? Because you never think about your bill, about how we simply rent power. It's never ever gone down, and it will never ever go away, right? Unless you
and you have to have it every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So, and D, speaking of high ticket prices, are y'all doing just sales or are y'all leasing? What kind of systems are y'all working with?
As we all know, we are definitely 100% doing finance, cash option sales, but we have to open our mind up to the leasing option, being with the new rules and regulations. At some point, you're going to have to play ball to keep your business at a rate that you need it at, right, to pay your bills and this and that. But a lease is also a great thing for a certain customer, right? Not for everybody. And also cash and loan is also not for everybody. That's why we'll just revert real quick back to having the right person in your home and being able to sit there and tell you, hey, this isn't for you. Right. This isn't going to work for your house. Thank you so much for our time today. I apologize, but I would not like to waste your money. Is there anybody that you talked to about me coming here today that could possibly refer me to, so I can try and see if they qualify? And we'll go ahead and, if you run discounts or not, give them a little treat for doing that, right?
Well, referral fee or something to that effect. I've got referral fees and sales from customers that didn't do business with me because I was honest with them. I mean, and you have too, but Dustin has as well. So, it's about honesty and integrity and doing an ethical sale for sure. So if financing is the biggest part of the conversation, probably then I'm going to guess the second biggest part of the conversation is explaining kind of how solar works, right? Like the grid tied system, right? How do you explain that simply to the homeowner?
Panels power your home first. Okay. Extra power flows to the grid. At night, you pull power back from the grid. Utility acts like a battery, not actual storage. Okay. And that's the first bullet points that I would explain. Okay. But I would also explain the number one part that they all misconceive and think that it does. And just the heads up, when the sun's not out, the panels don't work. Okay. Just a quick heads up there for everybody that might need to understand that. I've had that question more than I've wanted to answer it. But when your solar project, panel system, whatever you want to call it, is down, okay, and not producing because there's no sun out there, there's nothing going on. It is completely dead. Does that make sense? Until what? 6 a.m. the next day, we get some light and it starts turning everything back on, unless you were to have a storage system to be off grid in a sense, not completely off grid, but off grid enough to have your own storage of power if there was any type of hurricane, you name it, snowstorm that makes your power go out.
Yeah. So in our last episode, we kind of explained a grid tied system.
Cool.
And here's another little graphic where when the sun's out, the solar panels are producing power. That power is converted to power that we can use in the home through the main panel. And as long as your system is detecting power either from the grid and or from a battery, then it'll continue to produce, which is what we call net metering, right?
That's right.
So this is kind of a generalized graphic. If you have a battery, then it's pretty much the same thing, except now you have a battery kind of in that same mix, which you alluded to just a second ago.
Well, and we talked about this last week too, right, Darren? Even if you do have a battery, if your home utilizes all the power that's in that battery, your system's going down until the sun comes back up, right, to replenish everything. So Derek mentioned this earlier, his white glove service. It's all about what you need your system to do for you in your home, right? We all, I'm sure, have customers who bought 3, 4, 5, 6 batteries. They let those suckers stay full, and if they ever go down, they're essentially off grid, right? It's a generator basically with free power. So again, it all depends on what your home wants to do. So Derek, right now with your team, what do you think is like the ideal appointment flow? How do you want your guys going in and out of a home?
So we do things a little bit differently than others.
Cool.
We do call and get a gauge, kind of see where they stand before we come out there, try and get to know them a little bit, break down a little 10-minute conversation, try and build some rapport. And then once we get to the home, we invite that customer outside to walk around with us, and we kind of do a site audit with them, and it kind of helps answer some of their questions. My favorite one is, why am I here? Right? What, thanks for having me. What's your biggest pain points? Right? What can I do for you today and solve the problem that you have? The best thing a sales rep can do is think of himself as a problem solver and not a sales rep. Okay. Get those pain points out. Then of course you get down to the technical. You want to go sit at the table, right? You got an idea of what these homeowners need. You have an idea of what they want, where they want it. So now it's time to kind of bring in a full picture to them and show them how that moves forward in a process, right? So you're going to break out the utility bill, go over the usage that they have yearly, monthly, right? And then you're going to have roof shading, electrical review on your program right in front of you, so you can kind of put some panels and help build it with the homeowner. My favorite thing to do is to show the homeowner while I'm building their system on their home after putting their electrical usage. And, they get them involved and let them see, what's going on and how their system's going to look. And it excites them, and it gets them a little bit more aware of what's going on in that appointment, right? You have 45 minutes to 60 minutes, in that range to explain, something that could be 20 to 40, $50,000. So you want to make sure you do it the right way and do it ethically, and make sure you're explaining all the big pieces and important pieces first. System sizing, like I explained, you're going to do that for them and make sure they get the right amount of coverage. Some people already, they think, yeah, well, is that going to cover 100% of my electric bill? Well, yes, it is, or yes, it isn't, depending on the space I have to work with on that roof, right? If it's a 10 pitch, a 4 pitch, it all comes in, like I said, many variables. And then you're going to get to financing and ownership comparison. And then next steps, which is no pressure next steps, right? I appreciate your time today. What are your thoughts about moving forward with your project? Do you have a timeline? When should I call you back? Would you like to sign something today? Right? All those questions are going to come out, and we're going to talk and see where the homeowner is. Wherever they stand is where it is, and you continue to follow up on their time that they ask you to follow up, and be a professional, and you'll win more deals than you ever have. It's all about having a strategy and executing it, not to get over on the homeowner, but to show that we're the trusting company. We've been around for 20 plus years. We're going to be here to service it, but you don't have that much time to fit all of that in there. So you have to it has to bleed out of you, right? It's got to be an emotional appointment,
About how long are your typical appointments? I mean, our viewers out there may be interested and want to know kind of what their time commitment is.
Man, it depends on the size, but I like to say 60 to 90 minutes. Okay. Any shorter, it feels rushed. Okay. And any longer, it feels unclear. So there's a very fine line with that. When you're getting into the 90 minutes, even if it's a big 100 panel ground mount, blah, 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 you should never go longer than 90 minutes. Because now, I mean, of course, you can get the gauge of the customer and how their interest level is at a professional level. But at some point, you're going to start losing their interest because they want you to leave their house. They want to have dinner with their kids. They want to move on, right? So there's a fine line between that. But that's about what I would go for.
Well, in that 60 to 90 minutes, Derek, what information do you think a homeowner really expects to receive? Like, what should they get from us as a rep?
System size and production estimates, 100%, and they need to be factual, backed up by real numbers. Total cost and financing terms, realistic savings, and that's factual, right? We always say we're going to tell them what they're saving. They need to be able to see it and see where that breaks. And if your program's not helping you and doing that for you, reach out to one of our guys. I can show you where you can use that and get that done. That's super important. Warranty, service, and timeline, and then what solar does not do. Okay, so you want to have very clear expectations on what that system's going to perform. Okay, and yes, my numbers are conservative. We're going to be conservative. That's just over under promise, over deliver, right? And that is something that we stand by as well. So
It's
that's
interesting.
that I would take from that appointment.
It's interesting. You said timeline as well. So you actually explained to the customer kind of the process.
Not only do we explain it, we have a automated system that once this deal is put through and is 100% checked and reviewed, they get an automated message with step by step everything from top to bottom, how the solar process works, as well as the leave behind my rep goes over with them at the appointment. And then, of course, at first touch on the grass, we run through the process from the roof install and on. So they're getting it 3 different times. They're getting it in a professional way, somewhere where they can easily go look at it. But of course, they still call and ask, and that's okay because we're here to answer those questions. Every company should be there, of course, ready to answer any customer's question. Customer is your bread and butter in any business, right? So, yes, take care of them. Bottom line.
We talked about this in our last episode. It's a construction project.
Yeah.
And so there are things that you as a company can control, and there are things you can't control, like municipalities and inspections and so forth, utilities and so forth and so on. So I can appreciate that you at least touch on it, because there's a lot of companies who don't.
But what you can't control is
magic
communication.
panels appear on the roof, right, and start
That's
producing.
right. But you can control communication.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can control lackadaisical efforts. You can control those certain things that when I stepped foot here at Tiger, I was amazed by, and has only helped us grow by having those things in place.
Well, it's really important communication, especially for us as sales guys, right? I mean, we all love to talk anyway, but I want to take it back to what you first said about building rapport and how important it is to do a good walk around, right? That first impression is so important for us because that homeowner is about to allow us into their home. We're going to sit at their kitchen table where they have dinner with their kids, right? And we're going to ask them for anywhere from $20,000 to $120,000, right? It's really important, especially right up front, to build that rapport. Let them know that you're not there to bullshit anybody. You're there to provide them honest answers. And like you said too, right? This may not work for you, but I'm going to let you know that.
That's right.
It's so
Be
important.
the first one to tell you. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's take it a little bit further. So, what are some of the common mistakes that you see between homeowners and reps, right? Like homeowners trying to chase a low price, or
That's exactly right.
not understanding how your financing works, stuff like that.
Yeah, not understanding finance or escalators, right? Or what we call dealer fees, and then chasing lowest price, and that's on both ends. That's my number one issue, right? Because my rep thinks that they have to come in at the lowest price possible, right? And then so does my homeowner. So if you're chasing the lowest price, are you chasing quality?
Right.
What are you trying to chase? And then my rep gets the same conversation. Okay. And what I mean by that is we pride ourselves on quality. Everything that's touching your house is tier 1. Everything that we use down to the nuts and bolts is going to be top of the line products. So we should treat it all that way. And that's just what they stand by here. And I'm glad to be a part of it. But chasing that low price, not understanding finance or escalators, ignoring roof conditions or efficiency upgrades. Darren's going to love this one. Ignoring the efficiency upgrades is a big problem. I can put all the solar on your house in the world, But if you don't have insulation, it doesn't mean a thing. Okay. And that's where people mistake. Our farmers mistake, right? They have less insulation than most because it's old or it's just, a barn dominium type or, Darren can speak more into this than I can, but efficiency wise, they look over that stuff or, hey, I ain't worried about my roof. Well, now you just bought a solar system and it's been 7 months and you have to do an R&R replacement and a remove and replacement. So it's being honest with that customer and letting them know, hey, now's not the right time. Your roof condition, but if we can get that fixed for you, we'll be glad to come out here and put some solar on your house. But we'd be doing you a disjustice if we do it now. For one, there's a possibility some of my guys might fall through, right?
Yeah.
There's all endless possibilities that are unsafe with a bad roof, and that's for both sides of everything. So
we've been sponsoring some of our previous episodes by Reviver Roof, which is a shingle rejuvenator that adds some life to shingles. It's not going to replace a rotten deck, but
I saw a video on that and it was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to learn more about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So on the same kind of on the flip side of the coin, what are some of the most common mistakes that sales reps, or not yours specifically, and hopefully none of yours, generally solar sales reps, what are some of the biggest mistakes?
I'll go with the first one: oversizing systems to inflate numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean I need 125 panels?
Yeah. And it also leads to that nasty word commission breath. Okay. Yeah. And if you're still paying 8 and 10% commissions out there, I highly advise you to start thinking otherwise for the future of your business. You should pay a small salary because solar is going to get tough. You should take care of your people and pay a small salary and a smaller commission. Okay. It's the same money, guys, but you should also know how to, use that a little bit to your advantage. Sorry to get off task there, but wanted to throw that in there for everybody. Over-promising savings or no bill claims. You'll never have an electric bill, right? Guys, one of the biggest myths in solar. There's fees on your electric bill. There's certain charges that solar does not cover, okay? Yeah, maybe some of your credits in some places that cover the credits will cover some of that for you, and some do not. But again, your bill will not be zero every single month. Will it happen? Sure. It's happened before, but don't think it'll happen month to month to month to month to month. You might, you're going to have something on that bill, whether it's $6, $12, $26. You're going to have something. So it'll never be zeroed out. Pushing same-day decisions. Reps today, more than ever, are pushing and pushing and pushing because what are their bosses doing?
Pushing,
and pushing. That's not strategy.
It's urgency.
It's panic.
Rush. Yeah.
That's panic. Okay. So without the strategy and without giving yourself a real chance, pushing same day decisions is a turnoff for everyone. Now, can you one call close? Oh, 110%. But there's a fine line between being an honest person, just being a good person, and pushing paper on someone you're taking advantage of.
Yeah.
That maybe it's an old person that lives by themselves that just maybe it's time they start losing their mind a little bit and you take advantage of that. Or there's many different variables. So not to get the sad story, but that could be their grandkids' tuition. That could be, how could you go to sleep at night doing something like that? And it's just you can easily tell and separate yourselves from the other ones like that. I don't know how else to explain it. Besides,
there are consumer protection laws that protect consumers, especially the elderly, and it's all state by state. But even those laws will not eliminate a shady salesperson from selling something that's not needed and or selling something bigger than what's needed. So, it's always something to consider whenever you're dealing with a home improvement type product or service, is that, you have to make sure it's right for you. And you do have to trust the salesperson that they're not going to take advantage of you. And so, I kind of speaks to the one call close. I would say that now more than ever, our consumers are educated up front, but they also listen to what you say and they re-educate or check what you say
Mhm.
the next day or the next week. And so
As
those
soon as you leave,
are starting to become more rare. It can happen, but our consumers are smart, and Chat GPT, AI, Gemini, they're able to answer pretty hard questions that normally you wouldn't be able to get answered on the internet or from anybody other than the solar guy, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
we brought up a lot of good points, especially around ethics, right? I mean, trust, transparency. How is it for y'all? How is it building trust in such a noisy industry, Derek?
Showing assumptions, not just outcomes. Um, Explain worst case and best case scenarios. Encourage comparison shopping.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you think, I'm
Especially
just
if you know your
out here,
product, right?
exactly. And if you're out here and you just, hey, you need to hear it from somebody else, you need to do some more research. Totally understandable. I want them to do that research.
Yeah.
I want them to go find the $4 a watt system versus my $3 a watt, $2.50 a watt system. I
The other
can't
company with commission breath breathing down their neck.
that following up when they didn't ask them to.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. That's the white glove experience. That's back to that. And building trust is not easy today. Those fly by night companies make it harder and harder every day. Those door knockers that they're trying to get in your house and close you that day. They're trying to take advantage of an emotional buy, right? And
The ego sellers.
ego sellers, right? And most of the time it's just so they can go back to their company and say, I sold 2 today, or I sold, and that's great. I want that same fire. But if you can't do it ethically with integrity, then what is the point?
Yeah.
Why are we here? Right. So highly, highly advise taking care of your people and making sure they're taking care of your customers.
Well, I mean, I think that speaks to a lot. Sorry, Dan. I think it speaks to a lot about what we're talking about today in general, right? With just construction, home renovation. I mean, you're allowing someone into your home. You really got to be able to trust these folks. And again, you want to do a good job so that you're rewarded with referrals, right? Everything is entangled with one another.
I mean, referrals are becoming more important than ever now with the cost of leads going up, right?
Yeah.
All we hear in home service industries is a acquisition cost. So customer acquisition, CAC. How much does it cost to get one customer to buy one service? And people have a hard time. Companies have a hard time understanding what that is and calculating it, right?
Yeah.
They don't really understand it because we're dealing with a lot of what we in the industry are SMBs, small to medium sized businesses, and there's some that are really good at construction and installing the product, and then there's some that are really good at sales, but there's very few that are good at running the business like a business. That's right. And understanding the nuances of that. So referrals are super important, which means that you have to have a good reputation, which hopefully means that you're doing some good installs and good sales.
You have to treat every customer like you're December and you can't miss your number.
Right.
And that's it. You got to treat them like every single one the same exact way with the same exact passion and drive to get it done the right way and in a timely manner. So.
Yeah. That's good.
So on the flip side, what are some things that homeowners should look out for, right? What are those red flags that stick up in your mind when we know an appointment is going bad?
You must sign today. Rates are guaranteed forever. Those are 2 of the biggest ones. No production or usage breakdown. They didn't tell them how much it's going to offset. They didn't tell them how much it's going to cover. They just told them they needed 16 panels and this battery, and they're going to be good to go. Right? And that's the bottom of the barrel when you hear that. Avoiding finance details. Right? How much is what other hidden fees are there? What costs are there? Are there dealer fees? Wait, is it this expensive because I spent $10,000 buying my rate down so you can have a better conversation with me? Is that what just happened? Right? And that's how quick you can be taken advantage of without understanding how the numbers work. And that's why it's important you get more than one quote. More than one person showing you how this works. I encourage it. A course I want to be the one to win your quote, but I'm going to win it anyway if I do the right things, right? And sometimes it's not. Maybe another company that does the right things gets it, and that's okay because we're all in this together. But at the end of the day, you take advantage of my homeowner, you just made it harder on me. I know who to watch out for and who not to watch out for, right?
Yeah.
It's really important for all of us to really start from the beginning, right? I mean, I know we talked about this earlier. Having a small team kind of makes this a little bit easier, but from a former enablement guy, sales training and the standards that you have ethically for your company are so important. So for y'all, D, how are y'all structuring your training to make sure that your homeowners are getting the same confident, clear, concise answer from all your reps?
Yeah, so we do have our own little playbook, right? And we try to always speak the same things in the office every day. We're always, because again, small team, we're always talking to one another. We're always trying to, hey, what are you saying when they ask you this? Like what? And we'll do the research if we don't know, right? We'll go higher up. We'll find out. But practice, training that, and then also doing their checkups. So we didn't call behind them.
Yeah.
Hey,
Trust but verify.
Yeah,
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify, right? And then you know who's taking care of your homeowners. And if they sold 15 to 20 deals last month and they did it the right way, they're taking care of their homeowners.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I only call one of those or three of those, right? Instead of 10 like I did with the other one, right? Or whatever it may be. But it shows in your work as a sales rep. But sorry, go ahead, Darren.
No, you said practice. So am I hearing that you role play with your sales reps?
I haven't been able to as much, but of course I do. I haven't been able to as much since I've been here at Tiger because I came in the hottest time of the year, and we were rocking and rolling. Once everything really picked up with the big beautiful bill and the tax credits ending and this and that, so it really ramped up. So I didn't have much time to role play with them, but I did get to hear them all the time talk on the phone with their customers. I was sitting right there on most of their calls. They had questions about certain things that were real good questions, and it showed that they cared about the homeowner, or why would they ask the question? And that's how I kind of gauged my team. I was really attention to detail on everything. And then I only had to call a few customers to check in and say, hey, how'd it go with this? How'd it go with that? And they all, scored across the board. Again, I'm very blessed to have the people that I have working for me. I can talk about them all day, man. They really do help the situation. So back to ethical standards, clear ownership and exit terms. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you sign this contract, you have till this date to say, I made a mistake and I don't think I want to do this anymore. Right. It's being clear about all those things instead of just saying, thanks for your contract, out the door. Right. That is unethical. That is not professionalism. And the homeowner should feel that energy immediately. When you walk out, okay, thanks for signing. Have a great night. I know you. No, right?
And then hope they don't read the contract with their 3-day right of rescission. Just pray they don't call you in 72 hours.
And my reps go over their contracts with their homeowners. So it's not a big deal. And sometimes they ask for it and we send it and we don't get to go over it with them. All right. But we try our best at every moment to go over that with them. But long-term service accountability. Okay, that would be my next ethical standard. The long-term service accountability is more than just calling behind them. It's more than just making sure they're hitting their numbers. I look at it as checking on them as a person.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I always knew. Yeah. We always knew we did a good job, right, when they offered to feed us after our appointment.
Yeah.
I'm a big boy, and I get free food. I know I did a good job.
That's right. And that was always a sign that you did awesome. They wanted you to stay for dinner, or hey, kids got a game, you want to come watch, or like something like that. And those Southern people down in Louisiana, they are the best with that. They'll go home with a pot of gumbo. You know what I mean? They're nothing better than that. But it's also just it's treating them like human beings and stepping out of that role of we got to do this, we got to hit this number, we got to do this number. Hey, you doing all right? What you doing this weekend? How's things going? And that's part of my accountability And that's why I brought that up. It's more of like, are we going too fast that they don't think they're, we're a family here and we're not thinking about them and we know how hard they're working. And, that's a big problem to have. It can happen to many companies very fast. I've seen it happen. And I really do think people miss the boat when they have quality people and they can just let them slip right away. Okay. And it happens all the time. It happens all the time.
That kind of leads us into that next kind of question is, just kind of the industry in general. Why do you think solar companies struggle? You just hit one point.
Yeah. Well, high cancellation rates. I think that is a big problem, and that comes with what we just spoke about, unethical sales. And you could say, oh, well, they just decided. No, they felt something wrong, and then they kept eating at them, and it was something you did, right? Or your company did, or they heard, right? Then margins, right? Companies are scared not to compete. They're scared to come in higher than the competition, and they're not making enough money. And that just means that's like walking into Apple and trying to cut a deal on their phone, or trying to go into the Mercedes dealership and negotiate your brand new Mercedes
for the price of a Prius.
For the price of exactly, Dusty, and it doesn't add up, and I think that's a big problem, and poor operations after sales that can really knock you down. That can really, if you're not installing it the right way and you're not bringing in the right amount of money you estimated when you sold that deal, you're gonna have to look at everything again and start from scratch or whatever it may be. But that's your moneymaker. You got to do 3 truck rolls because you forgot this and forgot that. Each truck is $1,000. Are you putting that $9,000 on your homeowner? I don't think so.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It costs money to roll a truck every single time.
And look, again, I'm blessed. I'm blessed where I'm at, guys. But I'm giving you past experiences of things that can happen, that I've seen happen, that you two have seen happen. So
it's hard when you're vertically integrated on your own, but it gets even harder when you start dealing with subcontractors, right? Because then you're on the hook for their work. So it's a real complicated, still being in construction, like we talked about earlier.
It's a construction project, and Murphy's Law will apply every single time. I think too, what we're seeing in the solar industry as it relates to sustainability of the companies is the inability to pivot with all of the changes, right? So like the impact of higher rates or the reduction of incentives or whatever.
It's over-reliance on incentives.
Yes.
That's what it is. Hands down. It's
can't
really
take 30% off your purchase price anymore.
And it really is. It's strange. It's strange that these companies think they can say $2,500 a referral, this and that. I'm like, yeah, but your customer's paying for it. Hello, we know this. The solar industry knows this. You're not baking in $2,500 just to give it right to your homeowner. Okay? And guess what? It's just unethical. It's not fair to the homeowner. It's not fair to your rep. It's not fair to your company. Does it sound cool? Sure does.
Looks good on paper.
I want $2,500 for saying here's somebody that might want solar and they go solar. But let's be honest, that's not ethical at all.
Yeah, but that kind of goes back to that same CAC, cost acquisition.
It's a big circle almost, Darren. It really is, man. If you just be a good person at the end of the day, be a good person and take care of them like you'd want to be taken care of, just like we learned as kids, right? You will see more success than you've ever seen, but it's doing the little things right too and being a professional. Just because you're nice and a good person doesn't mean you get the sale. That's not what I'm saying here, okay? But what I'm saying is if you mix that with the professional edge of a strategy and going to show them the right way for solar, you can't miss.
I think that statement's probably true across services, right?
Many.
Insulation, roofing. I mean, gosh, let's not even get into the roofing ethics question. Solar. I mean, I wasn't trying to besmirch roofing, but that's an industry that definitely has a lot of
nuance. Crazy, bud.
Yeah.
How could you tailor
a lot of companies coming in right now But if one were to come in, what would you say is probably advice that you would give a new solar business?
What's the beginning of that question, Darren? I'm sorry.
So new solar companies are probably not coming into the market right now at a great pace.
Mhm.
But if they were, what would be the biggest advice you give them?
The biggest advice I would give them is secure product, secure a plan, hire great people. And the reason I say that is product is as crazy as it's ever been right now. Nobody knows what's available, what's not available, what works, what doesn't work. And yeah, people know, but it hasn't spread enough nationwide, and it's people are a little bit confused of what fiat compliance means and what domestic content means, and it's not a path that you'd want to start a solar company on right now. Just in my eyes, you would be giving yourself a heck of a task. I challenge you to it. I hope you can do it. I think you can, but it's going to take a lot of planning. It's going to take the right people. And it's how do you find the organic leads? Because lead gen is not where it is. It has ever been. It's at its worst right now. And starting a new company trying to get lead generation is going to cost you an arm and a leg that does not give you the return on your investment. That's where you fail. If
To
you
stay
don't
competitive,
have
right?
organic referral leads, and knocking doors is slowly getting harder. So what is your play? What is your strategy? That's what you need, and you need actual good people that understand. You don't have time to train them. Heads up, you don't have time to train them. So you better really think about who you're hiring to start your business with, so you can start to build and train people and grow. So experience is key to that, and licensing harder than it's ever been. Harder than it's ever been. That's also a hurdle. So I can go down a line. There's a few right now, but I'm not gonna, go off the deep end there. But yeah, I would say reach out to as many people as you can, get as much advice as you can. But plan, secure product, which is hard to do without funds, without something to stand on. They're asking for a lot more down now. So again, it's kind of hard, kind of a difficult situation.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's solid advice for anybody coming in. That's for sure.
I hope
Yeah,
so.
no doubt. So we're kind of towards the back end of our episode, but let's kind of do some rapid fire solar 101 questions, top of the head answers. I guess 3 or 4 or 5 of those. So the first one is, what's the biggest solar myth?
Solar eliminates your bill completely.
Say that again.
Solar eliminates your. I thought we were rapid fire. Sorry.
Yeah.
Solar eliminates your bill completely.
That's right. Okay. One question every homeowner should ask in a solar appointment.
What is my rate of return? What type level of products are being used on my home?
Okay.
And by the way, before you ask that, we're going to slow down this rapid fire. It needs to be a tier 1 product. They go all the way to tier 4, some even crazy if you can Google it enough and find it, tier 5. It has
And when you say tier 1 product, you mean the quality of the product,
the
right?
quality of the panel. They all have ratings. Even your inverters, even everything down to your racking has a rating. Okay, make sure it's a high rating, tier 1. Right. Is what we call it. That's all.
All right. Lease versus loan perspective.
Lease equals lower control. Loan equals long-term value.
Oh, I like that. That was good. Biggest red flag in a pitch.
Guaranteed savings and tax incentives. Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, once you receive your 30% tax credit from the government, you will then take that and put it down on your loan. That is a 100% bold-faced lie.
Okay.
It is when it was a tax credit, it was a tax credit. It was not a check written back to you by the government. It went off of your taxes.
That makes sense. You had to have tax liability. All right. What was the most overthought topic that you hear?
Most overthought?
Yeah. Overthought versus underthought.
Like what the homeowner's thinking and overthinking about while they're in the process?
Yeah.
I'd probably say panel brand.
Panel brand. Okay.
Reason being is there's so many different tier 1 panels out there. but they're all pretty much, if they're tier one, they're tier one. So they're all very close in degradation, cell size, amount of cells, and people get hung up on the names and the. As long as it is a tier one panel, you are fine.
Gotcha. And then overtime.
What's that? Most what?
What do people overthink on the flip side of that? Or I'm sorry, underthink. I apologize.
Underthink. Like we talked about earlier, usage changes. Like, are they going to add a pool, right, and roof condition? So are they going to add a pool? They plan on adding a whole shop with a whole nother unit with a. That's stuff that needs to be brought up in the conversation just in case it's on their mind. And then the roof condition. Yeah. We're down on the. We're not getting up there and checking that roof. You know what I mean? So we're trained to take a good look at it, go inside, take a good look at the rafters, and yes, there's some tales that'll tell you, hey, this roof's not going to hold, or hey, putting a bunch of solar panels on it isn't a good idea right now that it's 22 years old.
That makes sense. All right, well, we're coming to the end. We had some closing thoughts. So Derek, what would you say is the one takeaway that you can give for homeowners who are maybe somebody's watching this and they're thinking about buying solar?
I would say solar is a financial decision first, a tech decision second. And to go into that a little bit is make sure the finances work for you. If it's not comfortable for you, follow your gut. Follow what the experience was like with that sales rep. What energy did the sales rep bring to you? Was it positive? Was it negative? Did you get weird feeling? All that comes into take. And then ask other people. Look at the reviews on the page. Listen to the reviews from the customers, right? Yeah. And you guys know that Google's reviews are not done by most companies. They have actual customers that are doing those reviews, all right? And it's not, they have the BBB. They have many places you can go look for reviews and kind of get an idea where this company is headed, right? And it speaks volumes for those customers when they do their homework and then they get exactly what they're looking for.
Got it.
It's well said.
All right. Well, do we have any final thoughts?
Slow down, compare, and choose transparency over hype. Yeah. Okay.
Slow down, compare, and choose transparency over hype.
That's right.
Well, I think, a lot of what we talked about today, y'all, is simple, but it's important stuff, right? For sales and your homeowner. Solar should be built on trust, education, and long-term thinking, right? This isn't something you hear about on Tuesday and buy on Wednesday, right? It should be efficiency first and then education always. Of course, as an enablement guy, I firmly believe that. But when that happens, solar actually will deliver on its promises, right?
Yeah.
And of course, for us, that's smarter homes and stronger businesses, right?
And it doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
But give yourself a chance. Everyone's quote's going to be free.
That's right.
Nobody's going to make you pay for the quote, I promise. But they'll come to your home, they'll give you a quote, and you can make a real decision, okay? But see for yourself if it's going to work for your home or it's not, okay? Because the neighbor can tell you it's going to, oh, mine works awesome. But my house is similar to them. We have the same amount of kids. We have the same AC units. Yeah. Probably going to work for me, right? Yeah. And my electric bill is the same amount as theirs. So don't be in a rush to pick the lowest price. Do some homework. Do some research. Give yourself the best chance. This isn't a vehicle purchase. You don't drive it off the lot and it depreciates $5,000. Okay. So it really is a special thing that we have in our world today that helps the planet. And if we can do a little bit every time, then that works great, one at a time. So
well, we really appreciate you coming on WhatsApp. Applause. And for those of you who did catch it in the beginning, we really appreciate Derek, who is the solar sales director at Tiger Solar. And for some reason, I can't put the website up, but I'll put it up in the description. But we want to say thanks for joining us, Derek, giving your perspective. Dusty, look at that. Dusty was able to do it. Dusty, I'll let you close it out, bud.
Yeah. Derek, thanks for coming out, buddy. We really appreciate it. Lots of really good, confident, strong answers today. Real good knowledge base for, again, our homeowners and our sales reps out there. But we thank you all for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe.
What's up? And this is
What's up?
Dusty. Usually Dustin says what's up, and I say what's up.
I'm getting better at it.
Okay. I'm going to say neither, and I'm going to thank both of you for today. I had a great time, and I wish the best for both of you. You're great people, and I hope your podcast grows to as big as you want it.
Thanks, guys. And if you didn't notice our banner down the bottom of the list of our screen, you'll join our YouTube channel, like and share. Also our Facebook page as well. But we really appreciate y'all tuning in, and y'all have a great rest of the day. Have a good one.